Are you ready to stop searching outside yourself and deepen the connection that matters the most?
Welcome to the Sacred Exchange podcast. We are your hosts, John and Catherine Graham.
After years of navigating our own spiritual paths, we have learned that true transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the honest and vulnerable moments when we are willing to journey within with a curious mind and heart.
Every week, we invite you to journey with us as we share our spiritual ahas, our raw truth, and deepen our understanding of the human experience.
This is a space of vulnerability and healing, where souls meet, hearts transform, and love leads the way. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Exchange, where today we're going to be talking about embodiment and what does that look like when it comes to spiritual practices, and how can you know when you're embodying things or not?
Absolutely. First, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and women out there that are celebrating Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to my own mother. And yeah, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I hope that our conversation here today opens things up to maybe a different light or a different way of approaching things.
Yeah.
For the better. Always.
Always for the better.
Okay, so embodiment. What does embodiment mean? What is the...
Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat right now. Embodiment for me has definitely changed throughout the last 20 years since I started on this spiritual journey. I don't think when I first started practicing spirituality or looking into it, taking classes and reading the books and everything like that, and I'd hear the word embodiment, and it was almost like I just bypassed the word completely. I had no idea what that actually meant.
Did you bypass it, or did you think you felt it?
Well, I just kind of thought, like, yeah, I'm doing it, right? Like, it was just like, yeah, I do that, whatever, and just continue to move on. And it wasn't until I started practicing with Compassion Key that I actually started to feel embodiment for the very first time, where it was like these concepts that I had held in my mind for so long, I could suddenly, it was almost like they would drop into my body, and every cell of my body was like this, like we remember this, and I could feel that embodiment of this is no longer something I hold up here. This is something that I just am. It's no longer a concept, it's a way of being. Mm-hmm. It's no longer a thought to have or a thing to practice. It just is how I'm approaching life from now on, which was a huge difference for me.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You did a very great job of explaining how it...
My experience of it.
Yes, your embodiment. But yeah, I was the same way. Like, I knew these concepts, and yes, I would, we would do our meditation, or we would, practice this or practice that, and know these things. And I was like, yeah, I know this. Yeah, I know this. Yes. Famous last words. Yes, I know this. But
yes.
I can't say it. I can't attribute directly to Compassion Key, but there was a point where I went from knowing this to feeling this, and then not. I remember us having the conversation where I'm like, there's no way back. Like, what happened to the old me? Yeah. It's not there. I mean, I'm still here, the person that I am, but the way you think and the way you approach different situations, it totally changes.
It absolutely does. And it's almost like it opens up this new pathway of understanding. And that was another part of the embodiment as well, is that I carried the knowledge for so long, or I carried the concepts for so long, but through the embodiment, I remember having conversations with you where I was like, oh my God, this very simple concept that I've been carrying for so long, like, do you understand how expansive this is, how important this is? And there was times that you were like, yeah, I know that. And I'm like, no, but I'm feeling it. I am feeling it in every cell of my body right now. And it is such a shift. To me, it's almost like I could say to people, eat your vegetables, right?
Yeah.
Eating vegetables is good for you. Eating vegetables keeps you healthy. And we could all go around going, yes, I know this. But if I'm always eating chocolate cake instead of vegetables, I'm never actually going to embody how good vegetables are for me. And vegetables don't actually help me if I only know that they're good for me and I'm never actually consuming them. You know?
Yeah, it is very interesting that change, that pivot.
Yes.
That happens, and I can't really explain it because I've always tried to be a good person and try to embody these things, but there was a point where everything hit, and you probably were like, yeah, this is what I've been talking about the whole time, right? But then
but again, you have to experience it.
Yes, you have to experience to embody it and understand what that person's talking about. And I know that there's a lot of people that experience parts of that.
Yeah.
And then, again, things don't really match or line up, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that shows us that glimpse of, like, that divinity piece.
Yeah.
But, yeah, your thoughts and your actions need to match that. And it is practice. You're going to run up against these things. And when I see people that are saying the words, but then actions don't match the words, I just try to remind myself that is the right path. That is the right thing.
Yeah.
It's just there's a little bit of a distortion there that's distracting them from that piece.
Yeah.
And I remember being in that place.
Well, I was just going to say that. Like, we've all been there where it's like, oh, yes, I'm a spiritual person and I do A, B, and C. I forget about D through Z because those aren't who I am, but A through C I can practice, so therefore I am spiritual and la-di-da.
Yeah, and it only applies for this, and it only applies for this. And that's not the case, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think to just take it back when you're going, oh, I know that, the famous last words, is how often we actually cut ourselves off from truly knowing these concepts, from truly embodying these concepts, because we already know the information. And so knowing the information, like I was just saying with eating the vegetables, knowing the information is one thing. Embodying it, practicing it, choosing to live it day after day after day, regardless as to what's happening as a result of that, is a completely different thing, right? Like it is... I think we get so kind of caught up with this idea of I know this knowledge that we just don't put it into practice, and we think just having the knowledge is going to be enough to help us or to make everything improve or to make everything better. But if you're not doing it and you're not practicing it and whatnot, you're right, it does show, right? Where it's like if you're doing it saying, I'm going to love this person unconditionally, but not anyone else in the world, well, then you're not practicing unconditional love. Yeah. If you go, this person is deserving of love and these 5 people over here are not deserving of love, you're not practicing unconditional love. It's not a this or that.
Yeah.
It's this and that, and it has to be for all.
Yeah. I agree. And I really wish people could more embody the concept of us as a community, as the oneness, and take care of each other like you would take care of yourself. I mean, I shouldn't say that because some people don't take care of themselves, but I think if we look at things that way, we soften a little more and more, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, we need to take care of this and we need to love this just the same.
Yeah.
And whoever it is, whatever the situation is, that has to be the way.
Yeah.
And I want people to think that embodying spirituality doesn't have to be it is life changing, 100%.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go around wearing silk garbs and whatever.
You don't have to dress like a spiritual person.
It is very much, you can't see the changes. And I said this to you before, I know that there was a change in me. You can't see it.
Yeah.
But I can feel it.
Yeah.
and you just live your life differently.
Yes.
You live your life lighter. You live your life with less concern about the bad things, because there is no bad things. They're just opportunities for us to look at how we can practice these different spiritual parts of us.
Yeah.
And it's just growth. And in saying that, it's like, okay, well, here's another opportunity. Yes, look at, I don't want to do this, but hey, let's dive in. Right? Like,
well,
and truly that is.
Yeah. I think too that part of my issue, if I could call it that, back in the day, when I was carrying around a lot of spiritual knowledge without embodying a lot of it, was that I could practice it maybe once in a blue moon, right? And that should create a result. Or I could practice it for 3 weeks and that should create the big result or the big shift or the big change. And it was almost like I was always looking for the spiritual concepts to help me with the current problem and not really looking at it as, I want to be this change within myself. I am going to embody these concepts for me. I was always looking for that kind of external result. And I see a lot of people doing that, right? Like, I'm going to practice unconditional love because I want them to treat me better, right? Yeah. So if I do it, then maybe they will. And the problem is, if we could call it a problem, or the hiccup that people run up against, is that you can change and change and change, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else and everything else around you is going to change. The way you approach it starts to change. The way you respond to it starts to change, but they might all stay the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, in some of these situations, like, it is a very linear approach, right? Like, if I do this, everything is going to be good, and everything's going to be, this way.
Yeah.
We're looking for that quick fix, that pill, that whatever, that this is just going to get better. I'm going to win the lottery, or whatever the case may be. And then you find out that it's never done.
Yes.
You're right.
Like,
you can do this,
yeah.
But then there's that. Mm-hmm. And you can do this, and then there's that. So it's never, like, there is no finish line.
Yeah.
It is not a linear journey. Yeah. It is twists and turns and loops and...
Yeah. And I think that's a part that I myself had to let go of, was looking for that kind of destination of, once I finally embody this is exactly what's going to happen.
Everything will melt away and it'll just be... Blah.
Yes. We'll be back in paradise. Yeah. And, but and here's the thing, we are actually in paradise. Yeah. Right? It's just reminding ourselves that, right, this is paradise. Yeah. And we get that choice as to how we're going to experience everything that's being brought to us, or everything that we're reacting to, everything that we're having show up in our experience. We get to choose, how am I going to receive this? Yeah.
And you bring up a good point, is saying that word choice. We ultimately have a choice. Yeah. Right? And I think that there's a few things that it comes down to is we can choose to be however we want.
Yes.
And we choose if we want to be angry about something.
Yeah.
So, like, we can embody these concepts, but in the end of the day, that's our choice.
Yes.
And we choose that because we intrinsically, we know within ourselves that path, we have that faith that, hey, you know what? There is something out there for you. Yeah. There is, God or the universe has a plan. Yeah. And everything will be as it needs to be. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, it really comes down, like, talking about the choice, but in that choice, there's also a willingness, right? And I think for a lot of us, we've been kind of conditioned to believe that, say we want peace in our lives, right? And so we go, I have this desire for peace, and everything should just
settle around me so I can experience peace. But if you're actually saying, I truly want to experience peace, that is, you have to also then say, I am willing to do whatever it takes, and I am willing to let go of all parts of myself that are resistant to peace so that I can find peace. Mm-hmm. And what does that look like? It looks like absolute chaos as you allow all of these different parts of you to fall away so that you can find peace. And when people hear that part, they're like, well, I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
I don't really want peace that much that I'm willing to, forgive this person for what they did to me 30 years ago. Yeah. I don't want peace that much. It's peace for everything but that situation.
Yeah. Just peace here, not here.
Yeah. And so it's like when you make that kind of claim to yourself, like when I said I'm going to walk the edges of my love, it didn't mean I have to be loving all of the time, but I'm going to practice love all of the time. And sometimes that love has to just focus on me. What kind of love do I need in the moment? And sometimes it's, okay, now that I've got my love, how can I become more loving towards these people or these people or these people? And I remember at the very beginning of me kind of making that claim and that willingness to find the edges of my love, I was really terrified of what if I never get there, right? And then I realized that there's no actual there, right? It is just a choice every moment, love or not, love or not, love or not. Nobody's keeping a scoreboard. I can if I want to, but nobody out there is keeping a scoreboard for when am I loving, when am I not loving. But it's an awareness that I have. It's a choice that I had to make and a willingness that I continue to step into of I am willing to do whatever it takes to try and bring myself back to love. Every part of me that's been separated from it, let me bring it back to love. But that's also letting go of a lot of identity.
Yeah.
So, and that's where that embodiment practice is that willingness as well, that it's whatever it takes.
Yeah. And, letting go of identities, like you said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Right? Like I think about it this way. It's like, those are things that you never really had, and
they were an illusion anyways.
Yeah, they were an illusion based off of past experience, based off of somebody else's experience and what this person said you should be and shouldn't do and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think that was kind of it's an interesting kind of mind blow or point of awareness where it's like, right, all of this stuff that I've been holding on to that's been preventing me from love or preventing me from peace is actually just an illusion, because really all that there is peace and love. Right? So I'm trying to hold on to this while saying I want that, and all I have to do to get that is actually let go of this, but I think this is more real than that.
Yeah.
Right? And so it is a little bit of a confuckery in the mind of just trying to see that peace and love is actually all there is. And the human experience doesn't show that.
No. It's funny how much we're tied to those stories, though, right?
Yeah.
That we want to hold on to this. Even though past this is this great thing, but no, these stories have to stay alive, and I am this person. This is what everybody tells me who I am.
Yeah.
But I need to be that person, and you just need to. You don't.
Yeah, you can just let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had a great thought, and it left. Wow. Oh, that's what I was going to say, was that for many of us, we're so embodied with our human selves, right? Where it's like, I am Catherine, I am this spiritual seeker, I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a friend, I am a woman, I am like all of these identities. And, I've been a victim here. That can be an identity that we're not willing to let go of. Or life is unfair to me. That can be an identity that we're not willing to let go of. And we can really attach onto that and go, I need to hold on to this with all of my might because it is the only existence that I know. And yet, that's where we're embodying way too much of our humanness.
Well, and I think people do that for purpose. And the purpose is that community that is built, right? So as soon as you put a label on something,
Yes.
I know we've talked about labels before. You now have, oh, I experienced that too. Now there's 2.
Yeah.
And then there's 3. So now you have a group.
Yeah.
And now you feel like you belong. If you remove all that stuff, and I just had this conversation with somebody that, once you remove all that, yeah, it may seem very lonely at first.
Yeah.
It may seem like, well, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
But that's not the case. And what happens is you start looking at things a little differently, but in that you start taking things personal. And then once that, I think you confront that taking things personal piece, and that settles, you figure out that it's not personal, and all of that was just an illusion, and there was no need to hang on to it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that's bad against you, or it's not it's nothing personal. It just all these pieces are going about how they need to go about their day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Talking about that kind of lonely piece, it does absolutely feel lonely to step away from the norm and go, this is the path I'm going to take now. And I know I experienced a lot of that when I first started saying I was going to walk the edges of my love. And there's a lot of people telling me, like, oh, you need to have boundaries, so, and you need to have self-respect, and you need to da-da-da. And these are all great psychological components of the human existence, right? But they also cut us off from love completely.
Yeah.
And so I wrestled back and forth, and you can be in like this loving place and you can have these understandings, but again, you really have to embody it. And that, because without embodying it, I kept getting pulled back into, I still want to belong with everybody. Mm-hmm. And you're right, it wasn't right that they did that, and they were wrong, and da-da-da. But then that's pulling me away from this kind of purpose that I'm feeling come up in me, that I need to be loving, I want to be loving, I get to be loving, I have an opportunity to be loving. But it's lonely to break free of that herd mentality.
Yep. Yeah, it is, but knowing that you're never breaking away from that, you're just going into a deeper form of that.
Well, and you get to be the light, right? Yeah. Where it's like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to lead others. If they can't understand these concepts, then maybe I can make it easier for them to understand these concepts and to embody these concepts. Because we can only take so much from each teacher, right? And I could go, Wayne Dyer's had a huge influence in my life. Marianne Williamson's had a huge influence. Kyle Cease, Derek Rydell, Edward Mann, like so many have had these big moments of teaching me. And now that I'm embodying more of their concepts and I hear one of their old videos, I'm like, oh my God, that's what they were talking about the whole time. And right over my head, right?
Most of these teachers, here's the interesting thing, and you correct me if I'm wrong, they're teaching you concepts to lead you back to you.
Absolutely.
To lead you back to that.
To the remembrance of who we actually are. Yeah. That divinity piece, that non-victimhood piece, that piece that's going, yep, the human experience sometimes brings those things. But remember, you are a divine being. Yeah. And what's interesting is way back when I first started listening to Wayne Dyer, I could hear everything he was saying. Again, it's filling that understanding. Yeah. But I was like, okay, I get that. I get that. Now, here it is almost 20 years later, and I'm going, oh, I totally know what you were saying now.
Now I feel it, right?
Now I feel it.
It's knowing it and feeling it are two different things. And yeah, I think people, we all get glimpses of it and we make that choice. No, I'm not for this, or I am going to embody for that. And, now more and more, I almost feel like I'm a preacher, or I'm annoying people, because when things come up, I'm like, oh, this is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
And then I'll go on this rant. And really, you know what? I know that I want the best for everyone.
Yeah.
And I just want people to challenge those norms of, oh, this is how life is showing up, and it sucks, and it's this, and it's that. And it's like, okay, yeah, but there's another way to look at this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the other way of looking at right, wrong, or indifferent is a lot more free. It's a lot more light, where it's like, okay, this that you don't like feels heavy and you get you angry, or you can choose to not.
Yeah. And that's a difficult one, right? Like, I'll never forget when we were in the one membership class together, and I was asking about how do you know when you're enabling someone or when you're helping someone, and we were dealing with some people with some addiction issues and stuff like that, and trying to find the right path to help. And the mentor came back to me and was like, you just need to help yourself.
Yeah.
Just help yourself. And I was like, well, what about these people who are struggling and these people who are suffering? And at times it can feel like some of these spiritual concepts are bypassing that human experience. And I know there's a lot of language out there on social media right now about make sure you're not spiritually bypassing, and it's all flaky and phony and stuff, and you have to go into those emotions. And I'm like, yes. And also don't bypass spirit, like the whole spirituality of it, because of the human experience, right? I know Wayne Dyer says this quote, but someone else said it before him, but I'm going to attribute it to him because that's who he's famous for it. But we are not spiritual beings, or no, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Yeah. And so to remember, as we're going through these human experiences, don't embody the humanness so much that you're like, this is all I am, because that becomes so limiting. Yeah. Where if we can embody more of our spirituality, remember, I am a divine being, and all of this that's happening right now, it's just a moment in time. It's going to pass, right? There's that quote, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And it always does. Yeah. Right? But a lot of times what we do is we hold on to the emotion of it, and we go, the moment might have passed, but I'm going to hold on to this emotion for the rest of my life. Right? It was a defining moment, and perhaps it was. But it's your choice to continue to hold on to it and to continue carrying it with you.
Yeah, and the experience piece is very interesting, right? So, I mean, we had a situation where a thing
that happened this week.
Yes. Where, and
it was a random.
It was like a together dream or something event.
Yeah.
Where you woke up at.
I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, I need to know what time it is. And I went and I grabbed my cell phone and I turned it on. It was 2:37 a.m. And I was like looking through my messages and stuff to see why have I been woken up at 2:37 a.m. because it felt so bloody important. And then you said to me, are you okay? And I said, I just needed to know what time it was. And then we kind of rolled over and got back into like our let's go to sleep position. And then you said to me, do you remember?
Okay. Continue on. Okay. Yes, I do remember.
He says to me, we need to measure experience the same way we measure time, or something like that. Yeah. We need to measure experience in the same ways that we measure time. Yeah, and I was like, okay.
And just, I don't typically. Sometimes I talk in my sleep,
but he doesn't usually remember.
Incoherent, and usually I don't remember it. But I mean. I remember that as clear as day, and what that means, or I'm chasing that piece. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, that's very interesting, but yeah, measure experience like we measure time, or use experience as a measure like time. Yeah. Where it is, all of these experiences, and I think this is what was coming up was, so we look at life as a timeline, as a 0 to whatever, and that's how we measure our lives every
by the
hour
years past.
Whatever. Yeah. And I think there is a piece in there that we should be looking at is your experience as a measure. Yeah. And all of your experiences as a measure. Yeah. And what exactly that is, I don't know, but you know what? We'll share that as we go. Yeah. But it was definitely like not like the fact that you were checking the time, and then out of nowhere I wake up and start speaking about experience and
Yeah.
the piece with the time, and it was.
Yeah. Well, the interesting part too was when I looked up the angel number for 237 a.m. It said to really pay attention to your dreams because there was going to be a significant message in the dream. So the fact that you had woken up saying this just to me solidified this message of pay attention to this, like this is important. And when we talk about embodiment and we talk about experiences as a measure, I would question or have a curiosity of, as we go through each experience, does each experience help us to embody more? Or are we in resistance to what the experience is, which actually stops us from embodying more, right? So I can look at, I've had many experiences in my life that have carried the same pattern. And a lot of people could say this. They've carried the same pattern. Maybe you didn't feel like you were heard, or maybe you felt like you were unsafe. And so you've got this kind of messaging, and the human part of us would go, I am not safe, I am not heard, I'm not understood, or whatever. And we keep experiencing it like that over and over. Are we gaining experience points for that? No, we're just having the same experience over and over again. But the moment you start to question that experience and you go, what is the actual divinity that's here?
Yeah.
Most of us would look at ourselves as the victim. I'm not safe. Right? This horrible thing happened. I was not safe, so now I know I'm not safe. And that part starts to create all of the next experiences that we're going to have. But the moment we question it and we go, that was a point where I had a lot of fear that came up. But something saved me. Something kept me alive. And I've been telling myself for years that I'm not safe because this experience happened to me.
Yeah.
But there was actually safety the entire time because here I am. Right? And it was really such a mind flow to me when I realized I had a lot of experiences as a child growing up. I know you did too, where it's like physical safety was not met.
Yeah.
Right? And so you, as an adult, you're like, yeah, I just didn't have the safety that I needed, but I'm still alive actually. And yeah, it hurt to go through those experiences, but I'm still safe because beyond this human experience where maybe the adults in my life didn't have everything put in place so that I could always have physical safety. There is a God who created this life for me that has permeated for me to have physical safety the entire way through until I'm called back home. So, yeah, and that's that embodiment piece that when I've allowed myself to shift my experiences into the spiritual understanding of it.
Yeah,
that's where I can embody more of it.
When you look at your experience in a different way,
yeah,
and through different eyes, however you want to look at it, and I think that's where maybe where that measure piece comes in is we say, oh yeah, I've had this experience or I've had all these experiences. We don't label them, right? We don't go and say, I've experienced this and I experienced this, and to me, there's something in that doesn't necessarily need to be measured but understood. Is these experiences are necessary,
yeah,
and they are a measure,
yeah,
and they will continue. And here's another thing, that when you have these experiences that continue to play out the same way, I very much think that, one, you need to change your perspective of that experience to see it in a different way.
yeah,
You know, I was just challenging one of our children earlier this week to, watching shows from a different perspective, looking at your experience from a different perspective.
yeah,
Sure, we can go back and go, I was in a bad situation and this is how I felt back in this time.
yeah,
But you go back into that situation and change your perspective of, be it the other person or whatever the situation was, how does that change? How does that change your perspective now?
yeah,
And your experience is not just you as the victim or you as the perpetrator. Now you're getting a holistic view of that whole experience.
yeah,
And I don't know, for me, a lot of this stuff just, a lot of the ill feelings or bad feelings or anger just starts to dissipate because it's like, oh, I was the perpetrator and the victim
Yeah.
all in one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I was the creator, the perpetrator, the victim.
Yeah.
And I've been the one who's been carrying it forward into my adult life,
Yeah.
even though that moment ended a long time ago.
Yeah, and once you hang on to that experience, as you label it as, oh, that was scary, you're right. You're absolutely, everything that's going to come up that is going to be even close to that situation is going to put fear into your body.
Yeah. Yeah. But in that moment, then you have the choice. Am I going to allow myself to fall into the fear, or am I going to allow myself to step into my courage?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because fear is always going to show up every time that we go to expand ourselves a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
more. And we can either choose to embody more fear by allowing ourselves to let the fear dictate us, or we can choose to embody more courage.
What's going to happen, right?
Yeah. What's the worst that's going to happen?
That's what I was
And
gonna say.
here's the thing. The ego will say to you, we're going to die. Or this is going to happen, or someone's going to get hurt, or like it's never like, oh, you might stub your toe. It's like, no, you're dying. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's never, the ego never looks at a bad situation and goes, well, you never know, you may win the lottery if you go and, do this whatever bad thing that's out there.
Yeah.
Or if you experience, I don't know, somebody stealing from you, well, you never know, you might make a friend. The ego never says that to you.
Yeah.
But you may gain an understanding, you may,
Yeah.
have a change in how you perceive things.
Absolutely. And I think, too, it's allowing ourselves to see, because we talk about hindsight as 2020, right? So we can look back at a situation, we can see everything that kind of unfolded from a situation, and we can go, oh, the divine was there the entire time.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's great. We need to be able to do that. And also, can we be in that moment and go, I know the divine is playing out right now.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's always in hindsight that we see that. And then we go, oh, I needed this bad event to happen so I could see the divine plan that came out of this. And it's like, we don't necessarily, we have events that show up. They're not good or bad. They just are. And then we get to choose how are we going to navigate that. And the more you can embody that kind of, the truth that the universe is actually supporting you, that God is supporting you, that God does love you, and God is constantly working out a divine plan that is there for your highest good. The more you can embody that, the more in the present moment you can actually go, right, this is working out in my favor. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't look the way I think it should look, it's still working out in my favor.
Yeah. I think that piece is very important, and doing that, going back and looking at your history and whatnot, that revealed a whole lot of things for me, where it was like, oh, this path, this plan that a lot of the time we don't pay attention to, right? You don't go and look at your own history all that much, or you don't look at all the, well, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
You don't look at the events, oh, why did you do this? You don't question, oh, why did you work in a restaurant? Or why did you do this? Oh, I just did because, but there's purpose to all of that.
Yeah.
And once you start to see, when you follow those breadcrumbs and you go, shit, this is exactly, this all planned out and played out the way it was supposed to play out.
Yeah.
To me, it just reaffirms that faith that there is a plan.
Yeah.
Look at all of these things. These made this easier, or made this, you went this way, you went that way.
Yeah.
And it just gives a little comfort that, okay, you know what? I don't have to take any of this, not serious, but like, it's not do or die.
Yeah, it's not a right or wrong. You're not going to get punished. The universe isn't going to suddenly turn its back on you if you decide to choose this job instead of this job, or decide to say yes to this person and no to this person. Like, there's no master plan against you, essentially.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of people have that perspective is, if I don't do things this way, bad things are going to happen to me, right?
Yeah.
If I don't do this, then, or look at, I'm trying to do all of these great things, and all of these bad things keep happening.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a disconnect there.
Yes.
So you're almost like you're putting on a play to impress the crowd, but they're not impressed.
Yeah.
And now you're not impressed because they're not impressed. And it's like you need to let go of that.
Well, and it's putting on the play for a specific result, right? Like if I'm nice to 5 people today, then I should have a gift in my mailbox tomorrow because I was nice today. And the idea of embodiment to me is I'm just going to be nice every single day.
Yeah.
And I might have shit show up at my door, and I might have people banging on my door, and I might have people throwing eggs at my house, but I'm going to still consistently show up and be nice because this is what I'm embodying.
And I think that the one of the most important things to remember is it starts with you.
Yes.
Right? Like
yes.
That is something that even I still struggle with now is like, right, as much as we want to save the world, we have to save ourselves first. Yeah. And not save ourselves first, but it starts with us. And if we are all connected, then doing good to yourself, talking good about yourself, and really looking into these things and going deeper into your spirituality will intrinsically help everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we are our biggest critic, right? Oh, I shouldn't have done this, or I'm bad, or I'm whatever. I shouldn't have these thoughts, and la 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 la. So remember that it starts with you and the thoughts you have about yourself, not just about everybody else, but how you accept yourself for the divine being that you are.
Yeah, well, how much of you are you allowing yourself to embody as your light? And how much of you are you still holding under judgment or shame or criticism because you didn't act the way that you thought you should have acted or did the way that you should have done? And the interesting thing I always find about that is we can't know better until we know better. Mm-hmm. And so even though we can look back and we can go, wow, I could have actually done something totally different there. We didn't know that at the time. It's only now that we're beyond that we can see, oh, there was like 5 more options there for me. I just couldn't see them at the time. So how can we judge ourselves for that? Yeah. Right? And the other kind of interesting concept to me is that as I embody more of my light, and as you embody more of your light, intrinsically, we can start to see more of everybody else's light as well. Yeah. Right? When I'm in a state of judgment on myself or on other people, I'm actually negating the light that we all carry, or I'm choosing to see the kind of humanness and the things that I valued in the humanness as being more valuable than the light that the person is or the divinity that the person is. If I'm judging myself, I'm judging all of them. Yeah. If I'm judging all of them, I'm judging myself. And so when you say it starts with you, it absolutely does, because it sounds really self-centered, and I don't mean for it to be, but it's like I am all there is. Yeah. In my universe, I am all that there is. Yeah. And so if I see the problem out there by going within myself, and it's not that I'm eradicating the problem out there, but I'm just loving myself and giving myself compassion or helping me soften the edges of my own love, to go, that too is acceptable. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you had only maple trees throughout the entire world, that would be cool. But isn't it fantastic that we've got all of these different varieties of trees, and they all have the same purpose? They're all providing us with oxygen. Yeah. You know, but one tree isn't saying to the other tree, you're no good because you're not just like me. Yeah. You know, it's...
Yeah, and this just came to me, you know, it is almost... what we should be doing is thanking people for bringing me this experience, whatever the experience is, right? Is you have enlightened me by bringing me this good, bad, not for whatever experience to my purview. Yes. So now I can grow and continue on. Yeah. And
it's experience as a measurement, right? Like if someone else is collecting the experience for you and they're sharing that story with you, they're sharing that experience, or you just get to witness it or whatever, it's like, okay, now I know this, right? Yeah. And I guess perhaps I need to embody it, right? So we could look at, a superstar, and lots of little kids will look at superstars, whether it's like an athlete or a singer or whatever, and they'll go, I want to be like that, because now they see that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Right? Where I was just at a concert a few years ago, and there was a guy that was like up on the, I don't know what he was on. It was like a platform that they raised up on things. I really don't know. But he was like a guy that was like shifting the lights and stuff for the concert. And I'm like, he's got a great row, like a great seat to the concert,
Yeah.
and he just has to put the spotlight on. Like, how fantastic. I didn't even know this was a job when I was a child.
Yeah.
But like, if you were a big music person, how great would it be to just be the person that's always put the spotlight on whoever's on the stage?
Yeah.
Great gig. But you don't see that as a possibility until you actually see it out there in the world, and you're like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think has come up this week is that, you talk about possibilities, and sometimes we feel trapped in our situations, right? So
Yeah.
going with
And
this
we were talking
embodiment,
about that last week, yeah.
right, it's like people do very much feel trapped in their situations that they're in, but really they're not. They just can't see any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it last week, but it is another thing. It came up. It's come up this week where it's like, no, but all you have to do is look at it a little different, and we are limitless.
Yeah.
There is no top. There is no ceiling.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it's like just allowing yourself to get curious. Like, why would I want to believe that my highest embodiment right now is to be stuck? Right? That I can't change this situation. Like, there is a concept that you're embodying in that,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily the concept that you're wanting to embody. Like, if I had to choose between I am a stuck person who just has to take life as it's handed to me, or I am a limitless divine being who gets to create my life the way I want it to be, what one am I going to choose? Well, obviously this one.
Yeah.
But again, that's in that embodiment of the divine is always supporting me.
Yeah. Well, I see. I look at spirituality and physics and all this stuff. You're privy to this because I think they mix.
They do.
So well together.
Absolutely.
Here, people like energy is free. Energy is free flowing. It doesn't die. It doesn't whatever. And here, like we're saying, oh, I'm stuck. Your energy, you can't be stuck.
Yeah.
Therefore, then you must be doing this.
You're just a tornado now. Yeah.
So, and those concepts between the two, where it's like, okay, well, energy moves this way, and all life moves in that energy and these structures. So why do we think that we are any different?
Yeah.
And it's only the ego that keeps us in this box.
Yeah.
And really, yeah, we are limitless, and we just need to remember that.
Yeah.
And really embody that piece.
Yeah.
And yes, all of the things are going to happen the way they're going to happen, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And just remember that we are a part of this ecosystem.
Yeah.
That we are just this energy. We are. It's not anything to be taken like so serious.
Well, I don't we all just get so serious about our lives, right? So serious. But we do,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like every problem, everything that we run up against or whatnot, we can make it into a really big deal. And we can create a whole lot of subset stories from it. We can create a whole lot of illusion and separation and all of this from every single experience that we have. Mm-hmm. We can make it mean something that it was never meant to mean in the first place. That's how powerful we are.
Yeah.
And the moment that we recognize I am this powerful creator in my life, and we go, I'm going to create this to be the way I actually want it to be. Mm-hmm. That was one of the concepts that, talking about embodiment and stuff, it was really, for me, the moment that I recognized that as a divine being, I can choose my suffering or I can choose my peace. And that is it is a choice. Yeah. It is an opportunity to choose. And it was so mind-blowing to me.
I agree.
Because I knew this up here, but I was not embodying it. I was not practicing it. I was going, it works for this, but not for this. I can get this, but not that. And I was like seeing it as kind of this twofold concept and not recognizing my own power behind it. Right? And so to embody that power and go, wow, right, I am a powerful creator. And sometimes I see stuff that shows up and I'm like, damn, I did not mean to create that. Well, but I can see how I did.
And I was just going to say that. It's sometimes, just as being the creator, you're going to create scenarios. You're going to, hijack yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to create a scenario that it's not your preferred reality, but you're going to create it for purpose.
Yeah.
Or it's created for purpose, however you want to look at it. But again, remember where it's coming from.
Yeah. Well,
and you can't get mad at yourself for making something challenging to yourself for a reason that you don't know yet.
Well, I just look at like the whole kind of publication of my book, and there was these road stops that I kept kind of running into, and it was like, ugh, this person's not responding, or this person has responded and it wasn't the response that I wanted, and now I need to shift this and whatever. And I was seeing it as like there's something stopping, until I recognized that it was me myself that was creating these situations that I was going, oh, that means I need to stop. And I had to then go, interesting that I've rejected my own story so much that I've allowed other people to show up and reject it or not respond to it or whatever. Now I just need to give myself the green light.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, wow, I created that so wonderfully. Good job, me. But also now let me uncreate it, because this is not what I actually want.
Yeah,
because
it's like
I get
ego triggers that you're creating, right? It's like,
yes.
Okay, I'm not going to do this until this happens. Oh, look, this is telling my ego not to do this, even though you're the one that has put that piece in place.
Well, I made it mean that. Right? Like, because each person can show up however they want to show up. They can say what they want to say. It's whatever meaning that I apply onto that and what I do with that meaning. So when I'm like, oh gosh, now I need to rewrite the entire thing.
Yeah.
No one actually said that. Yeah. I created that story myself and allowed myself to pause, to stop, to, really go into it, which was great. And essentially what came out of that was me going, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about this story now. This is just who I am. And I say that with love. Yeah. I do. But it was just like, no, this is who I am. I just have to own this.
And what's great is that I'm witness to this, right? I've seen this whole progression, and it was very beautiful, but it was a struggle. I seen this all happening, and it was a miracle to watch. But at the same rate, it's like, it's mixed emotion.
Oh, absolutely.
But it was very beautiful to see that path and how things.
Well, and I think too, like when you're, saying, it's painful to watch, but it's beautiful. It's a miracle. I like all of this. And I think it's so interesting that when it comes to like a woman giving birth, talk about Mother's Day, but a woman giving birth, right? It is so painful to watch that, to know the pain that the woman is going through, especially as a woman who's watched other women give birth after I've given birth. And I'm like, I know this pain. I know these contraction points, whatever. And you can witness it. And there is such a beautiful miracle at the end, right? And we go, yes, that's the way of life. That's the way it goes. But then when it comes to our own personal things that we're giving birth to, even our embodiment practices and stuff, we expect that there's not supposed to be any pain there. Yeah. And it's like life itself is created through pain. Even a seed breaking apart, I don't have the consciousness of a seed, but I imagine a seed breaking apart to be like grow its roots to grow into a plant or whatever. It's probably not the most easiest process for it,
There's that energy exchange, right?
And to allow yourself, and that's part of the embodiment too, is allowing yourself to just break apart. Allowing yourself to go through the contraction and the expansion, the contraction and the expansion. Beautiful. Everything in life goes through these patterns, and that's what creates more life. Yeah. Or new creative opportunities or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Very well said.
Thank you. I know I can
That
see the
struck a
look
chord.
on
I
your
know
face.
I'm like starstruck here. Wow.
I love you.
And just remember, embodying things and change is practice. Again, I'll reiterate, don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't think of it like, oh, I'm going to do this and everything's going to be good. Do it like nobody's watching. Do it because it is the right thing to do. Do it because it feels right to you.
Yeah.
Embody these things because it's going to feel free to you.
Yeah. And
not just feel free, you will feel that limitless peace. You will feel free of whatever was caging you up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you'll feel that love. You'll feel that peace. You'll feel the limitlessness. The more you embody it, the more you take it in, the more you practice it with the people that you're like, I don't want to practice it with them. When you do, that's where there's like real magic happens.
Yeah, and just have that grace on yourself of we're not always going to get it right all the time. Yeah. So that person that pissed you off, you may lash out and retaliate, or you may say some things, but you're also, it's happened to me where, yes, I've had those situations, but I also walk away going, okay, yes, next time this, or this is what I learned from this, and that was really me. I've had these conversations with you where it's like, oh, it wasn't that person that was causing the problem. The whole time it was me, even though when you stand back 100 feet in the air, it looks like, okay, this person is the problem and blah, 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 blah. But no.
Well, and I think a huge part for both of us has been about taking that accountability, right? Like, so it's like, yes, it's a practice. And yes, there's going to be days where you get it right. And yes, there's going to be days that you get it wrong. And on those days that you get it wrong, when you take that accountability, when you've had the opportunity to go, oh, shit, that was me.
Yeah.
Right? And you're able to come back to whoever you need to come back to and go, yeah, this is where I was at. This is why I reacted that way. Not making it right. I'm just letting you know, like, this was my process or whatever. I can take accountability for it. I think there's so much magic in that as well. Like, there's such an honoring of our humanness and our spirits through that accountability piece.
Yeah, I agree. And it is like magic. It is when you see that and you feel like, oh, I'm not the victim. I am the perpetrator here. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, and so many of us don't want to believe that we're the perpetrators.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we don't want anyone to know that we're the perpetrator. And we think of perpetrator and we're already thinking like the worst villain that's possible.
Yeah.
But it could simply be that you have something you want to say and I'm like, I don't have time for you right now. I'm too busy. Yeah. And that brings up a wounded part for you. And therefore I'm the perpetrator. Right? And it's like, well, I wasn't meaning to like make this version of you come up that's been so wounded and ignored throughout your life. That wasn't my intention. But sometimes I can still be that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that. So that's where I have to take that accountability.
And luckily for you, I'm always like, no, it's not personal. Right? Yeah. And I have to eat my own words on this sometimes because it feels very much personal. But no,
yes.
Everybody's just doing the things that they're doing. And even when it seems like there's no other, wait, no, it is personal, I still, in my head, go, it's not personal.
Yes.
This is a distortion based off of something else. It is not about me.
Yes.
It is, even if it looks 100% that, no, this person just doesn't like you, or this is the situation. I'm signing up for that.
I mean, I went through that this morning, and you had to remind me it's not personal. And the part of me that was taking it personal was like, I just want to get revenge. I want to be vengeful. I want to put out the wrath of God and all of this sort of thing. So, like, I still have edges to my love. But you were reminding me, hey, it's not personal. This is just where that person's at right now.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And it's like, I get that. I get that. And that's where I have to embody that art more, is about the it's not personal, especially when it feels extremely personal.
And that is very, very hard. Or not hard. It's
a challenge.
It's different, right? It's like, oh yes, this is how it's freeing, but it's sometimes you run up against those edges where it's like, no, I want to be the old person. I want to go and beat this person up, or I want to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, like even in the it's not personal, there's like a part of me that is, do you remember like the childhood saying of like, I'm the rubber and you're the glue, whatever you say to me bounces off of me and sticks to you. That's the whole idea of not personal.
Yeah.
Right? And so there is this part of me that's like thinking of that, but I remember even as a child thinking that it's almost like I'm getting my revenge by like sticking it back to them, right? Where when you say it's not personal, even though I've got that part that kind of says that, it's like there's no attachment to it whatsoever, where I have a little bit of attachment of like, oh, that's their distortion. Do you know what I mean? So then I'm still pointing a finger and going, they've got to hold on to that and the whatever. So I'm making it personal, where I need to embody more of not making it personal.
I always try to think of it this way, is like the wind or the ocean or energy in itself. It does not that, sure, it is aware of the situation around it, but it is not affected by whether the sand is on the beach or there's gravel on the beach. Yeah. It just is doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
And the wind is just doing, what the wind is doing. It doesn't care if you and I are standing in front of it, it's going to continue to flow.
Yeah.
And energy is just going to continue to flow. Sure, it may have to divert its way through this path, but it's going to continue to flow. It's not affected by these things. Yes. So just be the wind, or be the water, or be the energy.
Yeah, well, it's just be who you are and don't be affected by all of these things, or shapeshift your direction because of all of these things. It's like the sun does not care that it burns me every summer. Do you know what I mean? It just shines the way that it's meant to shine. And it's me who has to adapt myself to the sun without blaming the sun.
Yeah.
Because I could blame my skin, perhaps.
Yeah, the sun is picking on you.
Well, I mean, there has been times where it has definitely felt like that, when you walk away with a dark tan and I walk away and I'm like Canadian flag, just red and white all over. No, I don't really think that it's personal, but it is so interesting how easy it is to feel like things are a personal attack on you, and to try and remember your own divinity through that. That's another piece that I've been working on, embodying more so, is remembering the divinity that I am at all times, but also remembering to see the divinity through all things at all times. Working on it.
Yeah. It's always practice, right?
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's it for today.
It is.
So, thank you everybody for joining us here for another episode of The Sacred Exchange. And
don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
Comment,
Continue to practice.
And what are you embodying right now? What are you striving to embody? And what does embodiment look like for you? Join us next week, where we'll be back here again with another episode of The Sacred Exchange. Bye.
Take care.